Hello. So in this tutorial, we'll be looking at how we can create a dynamic shot like this using Unreal Engine and AI. So let's get started. LumaAI is a new way to scan environments using just your phone, and it uses the new Gaussian splatting technique to do this. To use LumaAI to capture my dust, firstly I turned off auto HDR and electronic stabilization on my phone so the video turns out as raw as possible. Then I went around my desk slowly, starting from top to bottom, going in passes and going close to the subjects as well to capture more details. After I was done capturing, I brought the footage into DaVinci Resolve just to make sure I got everything right. I did accidentally put my hands over the lens at one point, so I edited that part out. And after that, I split the video into 3 parts and it was ready to be uploaded to LumaAI. Alright, so I went to LumaAI webpage, and after creating an account, you can go into My Captures, and here you can start uploading your video files. Before uploading your files, what you need to do is you select the folder where all your video files live. You right click and say send to compress as zip. So you're zipping all the video files into one. After the zip is completed, you can go back to LumaAI, hit create, and you also have some additional information on how to scan your environments efficiently. You can go through these instructions to get more clean scans. You can click on this drop file icon over here, and then you can select the zip file you just created. You can name your capture. Just gonna say desk toot. And you can say it's a normal camera. If you captured using a fisheye lens, you can select that over here, and you can say if your scan needs to be public or private. You also have the option to remove humans if you have any animals accidentally got captured into your scans. So all this looks good, and then you can just say upload, and it will start uploading the videos. And after this, everything is automatic, and it will spit out a 3D scan using AI. Alright, after the training is done, it will give you your scan in this your capture section. You can click on it, and then it will show you a fantastic representation of how this scan is looking. And you can go around, just inspect and see if you got everything right, and if you need to re-upload or reshoot. Then we will move on to downloading the relevant files to bring into Unreal Engine. Alright, to download the files, if you just click on this download button, you have a bunch of things to download. What we need to focus on is the actual Gaussian splat, which is the actual volume which AI created, and also the plugin which will be needed to bring all this data into Unreal Engine. So if you click on Gaussian splat, that will start the download over there. And if you click on plugin, it will take you to this page of Unreal Engine plugin page. And if you go down, there's a link to download a starter project. So the starter project has the plugin inside it, which we just need to copy to the Unreal Engine root directory. Alright, now I have unzipped the files. Now we need to install the plugin for Unreal Engine. If you go into LumaAI folder, go to plugins, LumaAI, that's the plugin we need. We'll copy that, and then if you go into the Epic Games Engine root directory where your Unreal Engine is installed, if you go into plugins, you just need to copy that into there. I have mine already in there, so I'm just going to replace. Now you have the plugin copied over there. And now we're going to fire up Unreal Engine and bring all that data in. Alright, so I'm in the Unreal Engine project browser. So I'm going to go into film and video and create a blank project. I'm just going to name that desk tutorial, and we're just going to hit create. Alright, once the project is created, I'm going to go into edit, plugins, and search LumaAI, and I'll make sure that is checked on. If you just click on that, and you have to restart the engine for the changes to take effect. Alright, once restarted, we are ready to bring in our splat file. So if you click right over here, say new folder, Just gonna take my, say, desk, and then we'll go to the directory which holds our splat file. Click on that, and we're just gonna drag and drop, and it will bring a bunch of blueprints into our Unreal Engine. Alright, so the blueprint which you want to put into your viewport is the dynamic one, which gets affected by lighting. So if you just click on that and drag it into your scene over here, you can see we have all of that beautiful scan in our Unreal Engine over here. Alright, so as you can see, there's a lot of unwanted data in the scan. So there's a lot of cleanup which is required. So if you select the GS this dynamic mesh, you can just rotate it. I'm gonna rotate it to somewhat over the floor over here. And now we can go ahead and start cleaning things up. Alright, to remove all this extra stuff, there are some crop boxes and cull boxes. So crop boxes is basically a big box which kind of holds all the data in. So if you make that small, so I'm just gonna click over here, say 5, 5, 5. So anything outside this box would get deleted, as you can see if I'm moving it around. So I'm just gonna make it small enough to contain all that data. So for additional cleaning, we also have cull boxes. So cull boxes is basically in opposite operation to crop boxes. So whatever data is inside the cull boxes get deleted. So for example, if you just select the GS blueprint and you can enable one of these crop cull boxes. I'm just going to enable this cull box 1, and if you select cull box 1, as you can see, the data which gets inside that box get deleted. So we can use this as a mask to mask out any areas which we don't want in our scan. So it's going to do that. So you can use all these, the combination of the scrub boxes and cull boxes to clean up the mesh. So I'm just gonna move forward with this part, and I'm gonna fast forward this section so that you guys don't have to watch me doing it. Now we can go ahead and start putting in some lights, maybe an HDR. So first I'm gonna be deleting some of these light sources over here, and also the atmospheric fog. And now let's go into HDRI backdrop over here. Just gonna drop that in. You can use any HDRI you have. You can just bring it into your content library. And I'm just gonna replace this HDRI actually to something which feels more like a room. So in my HDRI library, I have an abandoned games room HDRI, which I'm just gonna drag and drop in here. And just to keep things organized a little bit, so I'm just gonna name that to HDRIs. Just gonna drop that into that folder. And if you go into the HDRI backdrop, I'm just gonna drag drop that in here over here. So for the floor, I'm gonna drop in a plane mesh, scale that up quite a bit, and move that into a logical position. For this example, I'm not going into full environment building. We're just gonna build whatever is visible to the camera, and the camera moves so fast so you don't see a lot. So for the floor, let's just build a material for it. So let's gonna right click, create a new folder. Just gonna read materials, and then right click, create a material, name that floor. Alright, so if you double click that, it will bring you to the materials editor over here, and I'm gonna drop in some textures. So I have this wooden floor texture over here, so I'm just gonna grab the albedo, the roughness, and the normals, and drag all of those into our material editor. I'm gonna connect the base to this albedo texture, the normals to normals, and the roughness will go into the roughness. And when you save, you can see the tiling is a little off, so we're just gonna correct that in a moment. So if you hit tab and type texture coordinate and connect that to all of these UV inputs, and for the tiling I'm just gonna give a value of 10 and save that, and maybe in 10 in V as well. There you go, looks much better. Just gonna close that. And you can also see we have also removed the legs of this desk because of our cleanup. So I'm just gonna build some quick legs over here. So let's drop in a cube, scale that up. Just gonna drop it. I will turn off the snapping for a moment, and just making sure it's lining up to the desk. Oops. Just gonna select these. Press Alt and you can just duplicate them. Again, just putting them in the ballpark, not really, trying to be super precise over here. And for the legs, we're just gonna build another material. Let's right click, say material, say legs, and I'm gonna bring in other set of materials I have. Wood veneer, I'm just gonna bring that in albedo, roughness, and normals. Just gonna bring that in there. Just gonna drop those, and just connect the base, the roughness, and normals. Just gonna save that and apply to these legs we just created. I think we need to tweak the color of our leg texture a little bit, which to bring it closer to our desk. So I'm gonna go into the albedo, double click on the albedo texture, which will bring you to this panel over here, and you can change some of these values over here. So I'm just gonna increase the saturation a little bit so it's a little closer to our scan. It's gonna do 1.2, and just gonna save that. Much better. Let's go with that. Alright, so another thing we need to address is about these monitors, which look very transparent right now because of our cleanup work. So what we're gonna do is put two planes and put that just behind the monitors. Just gonna rotate that, angle it. I'm gonna create a copy of that. If you hit Alt and just drag, you can just create a copy of that one, and I'll place it right over here. Just making sure we don't see any seam. And then I'll create a new material. Let's call this screen. And inside it, I'm just gonna create a black, shiny black material. So let's create a constant. And if you connect this constant to our roughness, we can change our roughness value using this constant. So we can say, let's say this is 1.2 maybe. Just gonna save that, and we're just gonna assign that to our monitor planes so that we have some specular as well as we are keeping the same data intact. Alright, so one last thing we need to fix is that you can see these floor edges are quite prominent in our scene over here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna break up those edges using some furniture pack. So if you go to the Epic Games marketplace and search furniture, And if you hit this free tag over here, you can see there's a free furniture pack which you can add to a project. So if you just click add to project and then choose the project you are working on and just say add, just gonna click on that and say add to project. It will bring all those meshes into the current project we are working in. So once that is done, you can go to contents and you have the free furniture pack over here. So what you can do is you can go into the meshes and see you have all these amazing, beautiful looking furniture which you can start placing around the corners. So for example, you can take this couch over here and then, you know, scale it logically and just put it behind. You can take this chair. You can do the same over here. I'm not gonna furnish the whole room in this tutorial, but you can go ahead and play around with this pack and arrange the furniture to your liking. Alright, so now we can move on to animating. For this tutorial, I'm gonna try and recreate this shot over here. So let's do that. Let's create a camera actor. Let's drop that in there. And I'm gonna, because I wanted an FPV drone look to the footage, so I'm just gonna put like a 12 focal length, which is like a really wide focal length, and just if you go into the camera view, you can start placing my camera over here. And now if we go into this cinematic tab over here, we can say add level sequence, and I'm gonna name this shot 01. So now we have our sequence which we can use to put keyframes and all that stuff. We're gonna click on the cine camera actor, drag it into our sequence, and now we can animate the camera. Alright, so I'll go to the very start of our frame range, place the camera over here. You can also turn on this auto keyframe option, so every time there's a change there will be a new keyframe deployed. So I'm just gonna add a keyframe on transform, which would put a keyframe on location, rotation, and scale. And if you go to the very end, I'm just gonna move the camera to the right, and that's how we have our animation over here. But if you play, you can see our animation is non-linear. You mean it's easing in and easing out. So what we need to do is we need to linearize it. So if you select all the keyframes and right click, say linear, so now we have a linear motion in our camera movement. So how I achieve that shot is I rendered a linear version of my shot, which was like 150 frames, and then I took that to Nuke to apply a retime, which makes the shot a little bit more dynamic. Another thing we need to do is apply some roll to our camera, just like FPV drones when they are doing some crazy moves, they do have a little bit of roll. So we'll go into rotation and we'll just give it a little bit of a roll like that. Much better. And with that, we are ready to render the sequence and bring everything to Nuke and apply some motion blur and our retime. Alright, so now to render our shot, we're going to click on this icon to launch movie render queue. And if you click on unsaved config, you have to drop in anti-alias, an EXR sequence, and a console variable. In the anti-alias settings, set this to 6 and 36, which should be good enough to render smooth motions and less noise. And in the console variables, you have to add in our console variables, which I do use a set of console variables over here, which pretty much tweak the engine to output best quality. So I'm gonna go ahead and add these. I'll link the console variables in the description below so that you guys can follow along. Alright, so our console variables are in now, and you can see it over here. We have all that set. I'm gonna say accept, and then we're gonna hit render local, and Unreal Engine will start rendering our shot, and I'll get back to you when it's done. Alright, so I'm in Nuke now. The render just finished. I'm just gonna hit R and bring in our sequence. This is what we have. Pretty cool. Now we'll go ahead and start retiming. And so for retiming, I used Oflow, which is a new native way of retiming a shot, which is basically speeding it up and changing, its speed. I'm gonna hit reset and set that to 1. 1 is basically no change right now. So what we're gonna do is, what we want is, I want the shot to start like fast and then just slow down. So I'm gonna go, let's say 5 in the beginning for a few frames, and then it suddenly slows down to 1. Let's see how that looks. So I get this nice dynamic retime over here, and this is how I created that shot. We can also add motion blur to this. So to add motion blur, what you can do is just put in a motion blur node, and you should have that, and set the samples to something like 12. When you play, you can see we have motion blur now. And that was the video, guys. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please hit that like button, share and subscribe. I would love to see the results you guys get, so don't forget to post it online. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.